Bartholomew, skinned alive. We're dealing with a signature serial killer here. Philip, hanged.
Leave the family silver in the mouths and makes up with the tongues. Now, what kind of wacko's that?
The two James. One beaten to death, the other beheaded. There's been another one. A man died because I don't get it. Matthew, killed with a machete.
I'm sorry, didn't anyone tell me? Eric was released 2 weeks ago.
He's killing the apostles. He's killing the apostles.
I told you years ago, you've got to see a shrink about this.
What about the ones that were left?
Simon was... What? Simon was sawn in half.
Yes, all right. Quiet! 7 men will die if we don't get this right. Well, if you can keep what you learned today a secret.
Who on earth would I tell?
What?
I'm sorry.
We were catching up with him. Just for once, the killer didn't know what we knew. The only people aware of the apostle theory are standing in this room. I quote, "In another twist to this macabre case, the serial killer leaves a silver teaspoon in the victims' mouths." Why stop there? Why not tell them about the tongues? What for? Glory? Revenge? A new car? Which one of you was it? I'm warning you. I will find you. The lady in the red jacket.
Louise Farrington, Daily Mail. Do you object to the killings being made public?
Yes.
Chief Inspector?
Gentleman to her right.
Would you care to elaborate?
Copycat killers, hoaxes jamming the switchboard. And 7 men who may die because Roger Parkin's only concern is to see his byline on the front page.
6 months and you've got nothing, Chief Inspector. Don't use me to assuage your guilt.
Get that man out of here. Yes, that man there. Blue suit, brown tie.
All right, don't worry, I can walk out myself. Thanks very much.
Chief Inspector! Chief Inspector! If it didn't involve an even greater loss of face, I'd take you off the case immediately. We need the press now more than ever. Apologize. Apologize!
Thanks, mate. Parkin.
Thanks for coming.
It's no problem.
Anything I can get you?
No, I'm fine.
Tea? Coffee?
No, thanks.
Just in here.
What are you doing?
What's the name of your informant?
I'm not telling you.
What's the name of your police informant?
I'm not telling you.
I let go my arm. You fall backwards. Fractured wrists, smashed arms, broken collarbone.
Don't be ridiculous. You wouldn't dare.
Try me.
I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you. What are you doing? Leave that alone.
I don't hear you talking.
Leave that alone, you bastard.
Why?
What? For the money. Yeah, right. £20,000. I screwed an entire investigation for 20 measly grand.
You put lives at risk. 7 to be exact. That's less than £3 each.
The bank's foreclosing on me mortgage. I'm in debt up to me eyeballs. They're gonna take away my home. Sam and I painted his bedroom the other week. Blue and white, his choice. And what then? Some poxy flat? Oh yeah, Helen would love that. My son's not sleeping in that dump. No weekend stopovers. Pretty soon we're down to 4 lousy hours on a Saturday once a month. I'm not letting that happen.
Why don't you come and talk to me?
Talk to you? Sam is all I've got left. He's my family. What the hell do you know about family? Your brother kills a girl, you hand him over, no hesitation.
Don't you dare talk about my brother.
Of course not. No, we mustn't talk about you. You're bloody perfect. Come on, admit it. The only reason you married the lovely Susan was so you could bask in her gratitude. Tell me there's nothing in your life you're ashamed of.
Clear your desk.
Eric. It is Eric. Can we have a word? Won't take a minute. It's a chance for you to put your side of things. Your own brother had you locked away for murder. But you're out now, you can talk freely. You must have something to say about that. Come on, give us the true story, set the record straight. Why are you hiding here, Eric? What are you scared of? Still, it couldn't have done much for your social life. Murdering your girlfriend on the first date. Is it true you couldn't get her up? Oh, well, not till afterwards. So you call Big Brother to mop up after you, and bang, you find yourself in a cell. It's one hell of a night to remember. You must really hate him.
You ever been in prison? Huh?
No.
You wouldn't last a minute.
I think you should leave now, don't you?
Sorry.
we've got... Stephen may have got us another link.
Which is?
Occupations. James the Less was often referred to as the first Bishop of Jerusalem. James the Great was a soldier.
Like James Buxton.
Bart was a tanner. Matthew was a tax collector.
Philip.
John, chapter 6, verse 7, feeding of 5,000. Philip tells Jesus there is not enough bread to go around.
Probably makes him a chef. Peter?
He and his brother Andrew were fishermen.
Yes, he was given the keys to heaven, if that's any help.
What about Simon?
A zealot.
Does get a bit tenuous from here on, I am sorry.
No, don't be. Don't be. What about Jude?
Well, his name is so similar to Judas that he became known as the patron saint of lost causes.
Whatever that means.
Samaritans, how can I help you? I'm here if you want to talk. Jude Hardcastle. Does that mean anything to you?
Jude 702, he's a volunteer. Why?
Simon! Can I drop your route? Oh, it's hardly worth it. I'll walk, thanks. Porteous Square, please. See you tomorrow!
You found the body, sir?
Yes.
You are?
Alex Martineau.
You knew the victim?
His name's Jude Hardcastle.
What were you doing here so early in the morning? Could you answer the question, please?
I'm not supposed to. I'm a Samaritan.
So Jude rang the Samaritans?
No. He was a Samaritan.
Lost causes.
There was a call there.
Who from?
That's all he said. Jude Hardcastle. Clubbed to death.
We get a lot of hoaxes. That's why I didn't ring you. I thought I'd check it out first.
What did he sound like? His voice was slightly muffled, as though he was speaking through a handkerchief or something.
How did he seem? Emotionally?
Unemotional. Totally flat. Accent? He said 5 words to me. Have you got recording of the call?
We don't record calls. The Samaritans offer help in confidence. The only way we know who a caller is if they tell us.
At 7 o'clock. The main headlines this morning. In a late-night vote, the government's controversial amendment to the local council bill was passed in the Commons by 58 votes. The amendment includes the Emergency Powers Clause, which opposition members have claimed as the biggest step yet towards a totally centralised government.
Why is he talking? Why now?
He's getting cocky.
giant plane with us. Came and catch me if you can and wear it.
That's good. The more cocky he gets, the more likely he is to make a mistake, right?
That's the theory. Metcalf. Simon.
We're supposed to be doing a TV interview. BBC driver found him. That's his breakfast.
Simon Barker, right-wing member of Parliament. Hang 'em, flog 'em, shoot them, zealot.
It looks as though the killer used a saw, cutting left to right just beneath the rib cage. Spinal cord was severed in two. Upper and lower torsos were cleanly separated. The killer again removed the victim's tongue while he was still alive.
We're right back at the beginning. 2 in one day. Why 2 today? Why 2 on the first day?
Why not any other day?
Hello, it's Stephen Hedges.
What day is it today?
Saturday? I think. Let's see. Yes, here we are. Saturday, October the 28th. Oh, my God, I'm sorry.
Stephen?
Simon and Jude Saints' Day.
Saints' Days. Those who are left. Thomas.
21st of December.
21st December. Judas.
He's not a saint.
Doesn't have one.
But he is an apostle.
Yes.
Is the intended victim?
Yes.
Yes. Judas, no Saints' Day. John.
27th December.
27th December. Peter.
29th of June.
29th.
He's missed one.
Or we have.
Peter Simpson, Hilldrop Road, Holloway, locksmith. Peter doesn't actually have to be a locksmith. He could be a caretaker, prison warden.
And I will give you the keys of heaven.
Look at when he was reported missing.
25th of June.
4 days before a Saints' Day. A torch. He's taped up a door.
There's something in there.
It's been 4 months.
Why hide him?
Crucifixion. If we'd seen this first, we'd have been on to the religious connection.
So he kidnaps Peter before his Saints' Day. Holds him somewhere else while they see the flat's empty. Then he brings him back here and kills him.
Genius. I'll think of something to go and tell the neighbour.
Are you okay?
Sure. Why shouldn't I be?
Andrew, patron saint of fishermen. Saint's Day, 30th of November. We have 1 month to save a man's life. He was crucified on a saltire, an X-shaped cross. Anyone in London working in the fishing industry is at risk.
But that's thousands of potential victims.
There are 11 separate categories connected to fishing here. Fish and chip shops, fish farmers and hatcheries, fish merchants, fish smokers, fisheries authorities, fisheries consultants, agents, tackle shops, fishmongers and fishmongers suppliers. We check them all.
You look awful.
Have you checked the mirror lately?
Will anyone called Andrew please come to the market office immediately? I repeat, anyone of the name of Andrew, come up to Superintendent Welch's office straight away.
This is the Apostle Killer, right?
Yeah.
He sawed a man in half. If he gets hold of one of us, what's he gonna do?
We're offering you full protection.
If I'm gonna die, I want to know how.
It's not gonna happen.
This is my life, mate, not yours.
He's gonna crucify you.
Coming up in the OU in a minute, we follow a glider race above the French countryside to discover the mathematics behind unpowered flight. There's some national test revision on offer and 2 with GCSE bite-sized revision for those studying in French. Then we travel to Italy for more lessons in language. This morning it's episodes 9 and 12 of Italianissimo, our Italian series beginning.
Hello? Red? It's me.
Duncan. Costs and finding the right team. Challenge.
Can I come in?
Newsroom, kitchen design, and the cockpit.
I'm sorry, please.
Common. Find out.
Just talk about it.
What about the anglers, Dave?
A bit early for the morning rise, but we're ready. Bodies on the commons to cover the ponds.
Good. Next one?
The filleter at the freezer company has scored a 2-step bun. The rest of the half.
Kate?
Has been engaged.
Fine. Depot?
One called in sick, just scared apparently. We've got a uniform on.
Come on, Jazz. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
All right, Andrew. Ain't funny, Dave.
It's all right. It's all right. Jess, what you got?
Yeah, both Andrews accounted for. Uniforms have it covered. Heading back.
Okay, thank you. Do you keep an absentee list here?
Yes.
Anyone not turned up?
Only one. A young lad called Stephen Turner.
Has he phoned in?
Not yet, no.
Do you mind if I have a look at his file?
Got it. Turner. AS.
What does the A stand for?
Not sure. Andrew. Andrew Stephen Turner.
give me that.
Steve! That's what we call him. Everyone calls him Steve.
paramedics just in case.
Move! Move! Get out of the way!
Mate, we'll take over. I'll get the airway.
It's a major hemorrhage. There must be over 2 litres of blood here. Pulse 180, weak threading. I'm going to try and get a line in. Right. He's shut down completely. Right, let's scoop and run.
He's arrested.
Nothing.
Hello.
It's out there.
Red?
Is he there?
I'll see. Yes. Eric's here.
Threatening me with a knife match at me.
Turn the music down.
Do what? Turn the music down! You know, your problem is you're too uptight. You want to lighten up.
Stephen Hedges.
It's Red. Does he know I called?
I'm not the one to tell him. Eric is frightened. His bitterness is his defense.
Maybe I should walk away.
Maybe that wouldn't be a good idea for either of you. Hmm? Must have been easier to get on with things when he was inside, when you didn't have to confront all of this. That's only human.
Don't feel human.
Guilt is human. And thank God for it. Anyway, you have nothing to feel guilty about. You haven't killed anyone. Eric is your brother, and you care about him. But he took an innocent person's life. And with or without you, he had to pay.
I have to go.
One of Andrew's neighbours was arriving home just about the time that Andrew was killed. He says he saw a policeman hurrying down the street, away from Andrew's house.
Check it out. See if anybody heard anything.
I spoke to the comms room at Southwark. None of their officers was in the area.
Please. Please. I was trying to say police.
The killer is a police officer. Then it would explain why the victims let him in.
There was forced entry at the Bishop's.
If the killer was a police officer, it's exactly what he'd do. Apart from Emerson, this is strictly within this room. Interview all officers unaccounted for at the time of the murders.
But we know these people. What do we tell them?
Nothing. It's not your fault. Now we work even harder to save Thomas. Thomas is the patron saint of architects. You'll find all the information you need on database. Apart from plain architects, there's the usual reams of architectural thises and that's. Same procedure. Check out the names of every male employee. Full names, first names, second names, nicknames. No mistakes. This time we protect everyone.
What are you doing here?
Disciplinary board.
What do you think you're playing at?
I'm talking to a pal.
This room is strictly authorized personnel only. If you don't get your pal out of here immediately, I'll have him forcibly ejected.
Upstairs and clean your teeth.
It's early yet.
You already had an extra half hour.
When's the policeman coming?
Soon. So go to bed.
I want to meet him.
In the morning. Promise. Time for bed. Half an hour's reading, then lights out. Okay?
Right, big man. And teeth.
Hi. You found me all right then. Come in. People sometimes go wrong at the end of the lane. I'll show you around. It happens.
Dad? Are you staying with us tonight? Do you want to see my bedroom? I've got a PlayStation and I've got tons of games. I'm getting a new one for Christmas. I've also got I'm not sleepy, I promise. I can stay out with you and Dad. Dad? Daddy? Dad?
He cut off his right hand. Why?
You must be very frightened. I understand that. But you're safe now. I promise you. I won't let anyone harm you. But I need your help. The man who came to the house last night, the man who your dad let in, did you see him? What do you say, big man? You gonna help me? Get out! Now! Ben, look at me. Ben. You were supposed to be protecting all of them! Find out what went wrong!
So why cut off his hand? As a trophy? Isn't his tongue enough?
He was stabbed through the heart with a lance. What did he do? What did Thomas do?
Architect.
Apart from that!
I don't know. Thomas. Doubting Thomas. He doubted.
Okay, he doubted. He doubted. He didn't believe in the resurrection until he had seen the risen Jesus and touched his wounds.
So the killer made Thomas touch something. Touch what?
He made Thomas touch his wounds. The killer thinks he's Christ.
He thinks he's Christ, and he's killing his apostles?
He thinks he's Christ. That explains why he took the hand. If he'd left the hand, would have had his blood on it. We'd have had the killer's DNA.
We may have it.
Sure this isn't Thomas's?
Thomas has coarse ginger hair. Find me a suspect, and I'll run a match.
Thomas was on the original list to be protected. It appears someone wiped him from the database.
What?
He was deliberately deleted from our files.
Match this with DNA samples of officers who had access to the incident room. Not a word to anybody.
John, patron saint of writers. What's a writer? The whole world thinks he's a writer.
Journalists, novelists, sign
And death by natural causes. How's the killer going to achieve that?
Contact hospitals, clinics, nursing homes. Find patients with weak hearts. We have 3 days to save John.
We can't possibly protect them all.
We tried!
The body of Christ. The body of Christ. The body of Christ. The body of Christ.
The body of Christ. Body of Christ. Body of Christ.
It's possible our John isn't a member of the Writers Guild at all.
John Haringey. Could you spell that, please?
I know it's Christmas, I'm sorry. May I have a word?
So you had a good Christmas?
I checked the DNA sample against the incident room officer's record. No match. I'm going home before I miss Boxing Day as well.
Had to be someone in the incident room. No one else could have accessed the database and deleted Thomas's name.
Computer glitch?
Too coincidental.
I don't get it. We checked everyone.
Duncan was here.
What?
On the day of the hearing, he was talking to Nixon. Nixon had his computer on. I saw him. I saw Duncan. It had to be someone that had access to the database. He had access.
See if the lab can match Duncan's DNA. And find him. anonymous letters?
He said he'd be back tomorrow. It's his turn to have Sam. We'll have our Christmas when he gets home.
Where are they?
A cottage on the coast. You tried his mobile.
He's not answering.
Well, is it urgent?
He didn't take his car.
It wouldn't start. He had to take a hire car. What's all this about, Red? He said you'd given him sick leave. Oh, my God. What's he done?
And we have a match. It's Duncan's hair. The machinery is state-of-the-art. We've checked and rechecked, sequence by sequence.
The Devon and Cornwall police went to the cottage. Duncan had already left. All the main hire car firms drew a blank. We're working our way through the smaller ones.
He's got to be on his way back. Tomorrow's John's day. Just act normally. Everything's going to be okay.
Act normally? No, I'm sorry, this is not normal. No,
Helen, you can do this.
I can't.
You can do this. It doesn't matter if you're tense.
No.
All you got to do is just get Sam into the house. We'll do the rest. Come. Well done.
Age, Ford Saloon, proceeding slowly west up Bridge Street.
Confirm ID. Do we have a positive ID?
Target is driving up to neighbour's house. Not the suspect. I repeat, not the suspect.
We have a contact, Gov.
What's happening?
Target approaching the house east on Bridge Street in Silver Mondale.
Helen.
Is he? God, is he?
No sign of the boy, sir. No sign of the boy.
What's he done to him?
No, don't!
You evil bastard!
What?
Go! Open! Stand still! Stop! Police! Stand still!
Where's Sam?
Look at me!
What have you done to him?
Police, it's Red! What the hell's going on?
Let it go, Duncan.
Tell me where Sam is, please.
Not until you tell me what the hell's going
We'll
on!
sort this out later. We'll talk it over. Just let her go.
Dad!
Sam! Get up! Get up! Get up! Stop! All right!
Where's John? You're crazy! It has to be today. We both know that. Have you done it? Of course I bloody haven't. It's the last chance to save a man's life. If you've done it, tell me now!
Governor.
John, the only apostle to have died of natural causes. John MacDonald, loving husband and father, gifted writer, died 3 years ago. He exhumed it.
And took the tongue.
Yeah, okay, all right. When exactly?
Last night, in the small hours, no later than that.
Are you sure no later?
When Duncan was in custody?
No.
It rained early this morning and the stone's dry underneath the body. At least John was already dead. You couldn't have saved him whatever happened.
Wasn't him I was hoping to save. I'm not going to pretend with you, Sam. Your dad's in big trouble. If you and I are going to help him, I'm going to have to know the truth. Did you stop anywhere?
Service station?
Did your dad stop anywhere else?
No.
It's tiring driving through the night. You could have dropped off.
No. We sang songs. Listened to the radio.
You were asleep and you got back home.
I was pretending. It was a joke.
Have a good holiday?
Yeah, brilliant.
Bet your dad popped into the bookies once or twice. The races, Boxing Day.
No, he didn't. Not once. He's given it up forever.
Really? You never went once?
No.
We found John.
Well, I was with Sam. Before you picked me up, I was with Sam. Ask him, he'll tell you. Ask him.
I did. I also asked him if he'd been to any betting shops while you were away. He said no. Found these in your jacket pocket. Betting slips. You're his dad. He loves you. He'd say anything to save you.
I don't need saving. You can't honestly believe I killed all those men. Why would I do that?
I don't know. You tell me. I'd really like to know.
Look at me. How could I skin a man alive? All the hours that we've spent waiting for some job to go off, the times we've watched each other's backs. You honestly believe I could do that?
This is your hair. Found on Thomas's body.
Anyone could have planted that there. Anyone who has a grudge against me. Even you.
Bomb squad say it's safe.
It's been fluoroscoped.
Yes, sir.
What about the letters?
They match the lettering cut out from the magazine found in Duncan's in the DI's house.
Pieces of silver. Judas. The last person on the list to die was me. Back off.
It's me. This is from the Gospel according to St. John, chapter 6, verse 70. Have I not chosen you 12, and one of you is a devil? The devil is your own flesh and blood, Eric. The brother who betrayed you, and in doing so, betrayed himself. Every morning, he wakes up teetering on the edge of his own sanity. I have 11, and I need one more. Your brother. You're Judas.
When did it come?
This morning.
I know who sent it. Why did you phone?
I'm out on license. Withholding information leading to the death of a copper. I'd be locked up forever.
Didn't know they charged you with murder.
You think I lost nothing? I lost you. I loved you for God's sake.
You promised me. You promised me, Red.
Duncan Warren, a detective inspector with the Metropolitan Police, was today charged on 10 separate counts of murder. The papers are now with the Director of Public Prosecutions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Piss off, Freeman.
Well, it's only so much fun a girl can take. No more.
Cheers.
Got the bastard, didn't we?
Ten dead.
At least we saved you.
Not sure that's much of a consolation.
But Susan thinks it is.
Supposed to be meeting her later on at a party. To be honest, I don't exactly feel in a festive mood.
And go home first. Go home, get some sleep. She'll understand. Susan know all of it.
All of it?
And Judas, coins, the letter to Eric.
No. Maybe I will go home first. Have a good one, Jez. Thanks.
Susan know all of it?
All of it?
Judas, coins, the letter to Eric. The letter to Eric.
Hello. I need... Yeah, thanks, and you too. I need to speak to Eric Metcalf.
What, now?
Yeah, it's urgent. Thanks.
Hello?
Eric, did you tell anyone about the letter? The one about me?
No.
Are you sure?
Sure.
So the only people who know about it are you, me, and the person who sent it.
I thought you knew who sent it.
Raid! Okay, get.
Hello, this is Red. Leave a message on the tone and I'll get back.
Philip. James. James. Bartholomew. Matthew. Andrew. Peter. Jude. Simon. Thomas. John. The emissaries of my word. The earthly reminder of their sacrifice. And finally, Judas. Gathered together as we were that last evening.
We do not presume to come to this, thy table, O merciful Lord, trusting in our own righteousness, but in thy manifold and great mercies. We are not worthy so much as to gather up the crumbs under thy table, but thou art the same Lord, whose nature is always to have mercy. Grant us, therefore, gracious Lord, so to eat the flesh of thy dear Son, and to drink his blood, that we may evermore dwell in him, and he in us. And on Friday, I died. Remember? Of course you remember, you were there. Died on Good Friday, rose on Easter Sunday. It was a miracle. I'll never forget the doctors' faces had been pronounced dead, and before their eyes, I came back to life. I'm surprised you didn't read about it. Maybe you couldn't bring yourself to. Maybe being Judas took yourself away to a quiet place. But you didn't hang yourself, did you? I saw you just before I died. You drove away and carried on as though nothing momentous had happened at all. I saw you drive away.
I thought you were dead.
Died and rose again. I'm immortal. Nothing you can do can harm me now. Don't fight me. It's finished. You're in my hands. Now, it's your time to die. This is how it has to happen. When Judas, his betrayer, saw that he was condemned, he repented and brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, saying, I have sinned in betraying innocent blood. Throwing down the silver in the temple, he departed, and he went and he hanged himself. I'm immortal. Nothing you can do can harm me now.
Are you all right?
No. No, I'm not. I have to pay, Eric. I never paid in full.